In this video, we're going to take some cheap Acurite weather sensors and a software-defined radio, and we're going to get local weather data into Home Assistant. Originally, I had planned on doing this with another PC or a standalone Raspberry Pi, but thanks to some code on the internet, we can do it all with a Home Assistant add-on. So stick around because we're about to automate some boring stuff. What's up everyone? Welcome to Slacker Labs. If this is your first time here, my name is Jeff, and here at Slacker Labs, we look for ways to automate the boring stuff using Home Assistant and smart home tech. This week, we're talking about local weather. I've always been a big weather geek. In fact, one of the reasons I have a ham radio license was so that I could be a storm spotter for the National Weather Service back when I lived in Texas. Not a lot of time for that these days, so I make up for it by adding lots of weather data to Home Assistant. Thankfully, there are a lot of integrations for getting weather data into Home Assistant, and some of them are quite amazing at how much we actually get in terms of data. But weather APIs seem to be shutting down or disappearing behind paywalls. Around the time I started migrating off of Darksky, I started to wonder what it would take to get my local Acurite weather sensors into Home Assistant. Turns out, someone had already written a script for grabbing data from the 433 MHz sensors like the Acurite ones I use, and pushing the data to MQTT. The only problem is, it requires more effort than I think most people are willing to invest just to get some weather data. But after doing some tinkering, I think I figured out how to do all of this with the Home Assistant add-on. But first, we're going to need some hardware. To integrate the Acurite weather sensors, you're going to need a radio. I'm using the Nuilink or Nuilink mini USB dongle, I don't know how to pronounce that, with some software that can decode the signals from the Acurite sensors. This dongle was around $22 on Amazon, and it comes with an antenna. For weather sensors, I have the Acurite 6045M, which gives me temp, humidity, and detects lightning within a 25-mile radius. It seems to be pretty accurate, and it was $19. And I have a couple of these Acurite 592 TXRs. They were around $12, and they have temp and humidity. But the software I'm using also supports some of the 5-in-1 weather stations, rain gauges, the Acurite Atlas, not to mention quite a few other brands. So the potential once you have this set up is pretty big. Okay, so once you get a hold of your dongle and a sensor or two, we can integrate these sensors with Home Assistant. First thing is attach the antenna to the USB stick. Then just jam the radio into the Raspberry Pi, which is disguised as a mini Super Nintendo because why not? Time to find some power. Now, if I'm being completely honest, there isn't really anything new in the add-on that I've created. In fact, GitHub is littered with other people that have attempted the same thing. And one of those might actually be better than the one I've created. But from what I can tell, we're all going down the same path. I'll put links to all the sources I used as inspiration for my add-on in the description. Now, it's only fair to warn you that I'm not a Docker person. In fact, this was the first Docker file I have ever messed with. Not to mention, this is the first Home Assistant add-on I've ever built. So it goes without saying that this Home Assistant add-on is beta. And while it's worked well for me so far, I can't guarantee that you'll have the same results. So if you're not afraid to tinker if something goes wrong, check it out and let me know what you think. And if there are any Docker experts out there or Home Assistant add-on builders and you see something wrong with what I've done, let me know. Okay, so we're booted up. First, grab the link to my repo in the description. github.com/thejeffreystone/hasio_addons. Then head over to the add-on store in Supervisor. We're going to add a repo by clicking the three dots, choosing repositories, and we're going to paste in the link to the repo and click add. Now you should see the Acurite to Home Assistant add-on. Click it and hit install. Once that's installed, head over to configuration. You'll need the address to your MQTT server, the username of your MQTT user, and password. Now, by default, this is only going to listen for Acurite sensors because of these protocols, but you could change that by adjusting what protocols this listens for. There's a link on the info tab that takes you to a list of the supported protocols. Once you're good with the protocols, click save, and then let's fire this thing up by clicking start. If you head over to the log, you should see a bunch of words, but the important ones are tuned to 433.92 MHz and MQTT connection established. If you see those, you're good. If you see something else at the end, try plugging in your USB dongle again and check your MQTT settings and restart the add-on. If all's good, let's head over to the device panel under configuration and see what it found. And there are my three Acurite sensors. My lightning sensor, for example, has entities for battery, temp, humidity, storm distance, I'm not sure how accurate that is, and strike count. My other two have temp and humidity, and they all have a couple of entities geared towards wireless information. But with that, I think we're good. We now have local weather sensors in Home Assistant. While this first iteration is geared specifically towards Acurite Weather Sensors, the software behind the scenes can actually decode the signals from quite a few other sensors. So if you have some RF sensors laying around that you're not using, you might check the list of supported devices. Because with some cheap sensors and a software-defined radio, we could be enjoying the cloudless weather. And while this project will probably only get weather geeks excited, there are some useful automations you could do with this weather data. Like notifying you when temps are near freezing so that you can bring the plants in. Or announcing when lightning is in the area so you know when it's time to give your dog a Xanax before the storm gets there. Or maybe you just want your house to randomly tweet the average temperature. Whatever direction you decide to go though, you don't have to worry about Apple buying these sensors and shutting off the data feed. If you like this video, hit that like button so I know it wasn't all bad, and consider subscribing to my channel for more home automation content. This week we're running a special, so the price of subscription is free, which means you don't have to give up the subscription to your favorite channel just to add mine. If I got something wrong or you have questions about something I said, let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Twitter at @TheJeffreyStone. And as always, thanks for taking time out of your home automation projects to watch mine. Until next time, go automate the boring stuff.